All right, let's dive right in. Today we're getting into the nitty-gritty of link algorithms. You know how search engines figure out which websites are worth their salt based on those links? And we're going deep.
Absolutely.
We've got market brews, understanding link algorithms and their impact on SEO to guide us.
Oh, fantastic.
Really the authority on this stuff.
They really are.
It's amazing to me how much even like a tiny tweak to, the link strategy can impact where a site ends up in the rankings.
But it's amazing how much it does.
Yeah. So we're going to decode some of that today.
Yeah.
First things first, though, we're talking link algorithms here, not just links themselves.
Right.
For those who maybe haven't encountered that term before, how would you explain that distinction?
So think of it this way. The links themselves are like evidence.
Right.
And the algorithms are the detective's toolkit. Each algorithm is like a specific tool that helps analyze those links. Figure out what do they really say about a website? How trustworthy is this website? How relevant is it?
Okay, so we've got all these digital detectives running around, and they've got all these different tools to analyze the evidence.
Exactly.
So let's meet a few of these detective algorithms.
Yeah.
Market Brew dives into a bunch of them. PageRank is one that's been around forever, but is still relevant today.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, PageRank, because it's really mirroring real-world reputation.
Okay.
It's not just about who's talking about you online, but it's who is talking about you online that matters most.
Right.
A link from a huge, well-respected website is going to carry way more weight than, 10 links from just random blogs nobody's ever heard of.
Quality over quantity. Exactly.
It's like you want those endorsements, but you want them from, the heavy hitters in your field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I was really struck by their section on the reciprocal link detector. That one sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It does. That's the algorithm that's sniffing out those you link to me, I'll link to you schemes. A few of those happen naturally, of course.
Yeah.
But when it's excessive, it's like you're trying to game the system, rig the system, and the search engines are onto those little tricks.
Yeah, they're catching on, no shortcuts allowed.
That's shortcuts, yeah.
Now, Market Brew also talks about the link positioning algorithm, which is analyzing where a link shows up on a page. Is it as simple as above the fold, good, buried at the bottom, bad? Or is there more to it?
It's definitely more nuanced than that, about context.
A link that's embedded within really relevant, informative content, it's almost like a personal recommendation.
Right.
But a link that's, hidden in the footer of a page, surrounded by stuff that's totally unrelated.
Yeah, like an afterthought.
Yeah. It's not going to carry as much weight.
It's like, are you trying to hide it? What are you doing down there?
Right, exactly. And the search engines are picking up on that. They're judging how naturally does this link fit into the bigger picture.
So it's all about providing that value, that seamless experience for the user, not just trying to, like we said, game the system.
Exactly.
Speaking of user experience, how do all these behind-the-scenes algorithms, how do they actually impact what somebody sees when they search for something online?
Yeah, that's the real question, right? How do they impact? It all comes down to this. Those algorithms are shaping what you see at the top of those search results.
Okay.
It's all about surfacing, guiding searchers to the most relevant, the best sources, the ones that have the most authority.
Right.
So you can almost think of it like instead of the librarian organizing a physical library, they're out there organizing the entire internet based on all these different signals.
Okay, so we've got these digital librarians running around, and they're using these link algorithms as their organization system.
Exactly, yeah.
So someone out there who has a website, how do they use this knowledge? What can they actually do to make their site stand out to these algorithms?
Yeah, so Market Brew gets into some really good strategies for this, and it all starts with content.
Yeah, here we go. Content is king.
Content is king. That's right.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just create any content, right? It's got to be good.
Right.
It's got to be the kind of content that, answers your audience's questions. It engages them. It keeps them coming back for more. It's high quality.
So what makes content truly link-worthy in the eyes of these algorithms?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Think about the stuff that you find yourself linking to, what are the resources that you go back to again and again online? It's often things like really in-depth guides, unique tools, original research, data, stuff that people are going to naturally want to link to because it's providing something really valuable.
So create something awesome and people will link to it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, create something remarkable and the links will follow.
Okay, what about being more proactive, though? What about seeking out those backlinks, those valuable backlinks from other websites? Is it just a matter of like emailing every webmaster under the sun, or is there like a strategy to it?
It's definitely not about spamming everybody.
Okay.
Think about it more like strategic networking. If you were at a conference or something.
Right.
So you identify, okay, who are the influencers in my niche? What are those sites with real authority?
Mm.
And you look for ways to build genuine relationships.
Okay.
Instead of just begging for a link, can you collaborate on a project? Can you offer to write a guest post for them? Can you, provide something valuable to their audience that would make them want to link to you?
So it's a mutually beneficial like exchange.
Exactly.
I'm giving you something, you're giving me something. It's not just this one way, please link to me kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Now, we can't talk about backlinks without talking about anchor text. So what role does that play in all of this?
Anchor text is huge, and it's often overlooked.
Okay.
It's really like a signal flare to search engines. It gives them more context about the page that you're linking to.
Okay.
So instead of just using really generic click here text, use keywords, use terms that actually describe what that page is about.
So it's like a mini headline almost. It's giving both users and the algorithms an idea of what to expect.
Exactly.
So I know there are right ways and wrong ways to do this whole link building thing. What are some of the common pitfalls that you see people falling into when they're trying to, boost their link profile?
The biggest one I see, and it's so tempting, is trying to take shortcuts.
Yeah.
Buying links, joining link farms. These things might seem like, oh, quick win, easy. But they're risky
Okay.
because the search engines are getting smarter all the time. And if you get caught trying to manipulate the system like that, the penalties can be, they can be rough.
Yeah, it's like trying to outsmart a chess grandmaster.
Oh, sure.
Like they've seen it all before and they will call you out on it.
And they'll know.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anyone. Yeah.
Authenticity wins.
Authenticity wins.
Speaking of, I want to get into Market Brew's unique approach to this whole thing because they're doing some really next level stuff beyond the basics.
Absolutely.
Like they really get into the nuances, the stuff that a lot of people don't even realize is a factor. Like their link order algorithm, for example. Most people think, oh, a link is a link, right? Like if I got a link, awesome. But they're saying, no, the order actually matters.
It does. Yeah, it's so interesting.
So tell me more about that. What surprised you about what they found?
Well, it makes sense when you think about it.
Okay.
If you see a link at the very top of a page, surrounded by other really important content, it kind of sends a different signal than a link that's buried, in the middle of a huge wall of text at the bottom of the page.
Right.
And they've analyzed tons and tons of websites, thousands of sites, and they found that, there are clear patterns.
Interesting.
Link order does seem to correlate with higher rankings.
So it's almost like those links at the top are getting the VIP treatment and the ones at the bottom are stuck in the back row.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not as important.
Wow. Fascinating. What other unique algorithms do they have in their arsenal?
One that stood out to me was their anchor text font size algorithm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So this one analyzes not just the words used in the anchor text, but also how those words are presented visually.
Okay.
So larger, bolder font sizes tend to carry more weight, especially if it's used consistently throughout the site.
So it's almost like the algorithm is looking at it and saying, ooh, big, bold letters, that must be important.
Exactly. It's like giving it more visual prominence. Yeah.
It's amazing to me how much these algorithms are picking up on. It's incredible.
It's true. Yeah.
Really highlights how much strategy goes into all of this.
Every little detail matters.
Wow. Okay, so it sounds like they're analyzing these websites on a whole other level.
They really are.
What else can you tell us about their unique approach?
Well, they also have algorithms that look at things like the actual size of image links.
Okay.
So how big is that clickable area,
Right.
They call that their link area algorithm.
Okay.
They've got another one, editorial link assessment, that analyzes where a link is positioned within the actual flow of the content.
Okay.
And then they even have one, this one is interesting. It looks at how many other links are on the page surrounding a particular link.
So it's what's the neighborhood, the link neighborhood?
Exactly. Link density, they call it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so they're really taking into account the whole picture. It's not just this link in isolation.
Right. It's the context.
It's an entire website. Where does this link fit into, the grand scheme of things?
Exactly. And it makes sense because that's how we experience websites.
Right.
We don't just see a link in isolation.
Exactly.
We see it as part of a larger experience.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. And so they call this holistic link analysis, which I think is a great way to put it because it's really about understanding how all these different elements work together
Right.
to create a website that feels cohesive, that feels trustworthy, and ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's sending those signals of trustworthiness.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
really is amazing how much goes into it.
it is.
Like they're like digital detectives piecing together all these little clues to figure out, like, is this website the real deal?
Exactly.
So we've thrown a lot of information out there, a lot of analysis, a lot of algorithms.
We have.
What would you say is like the key takeaway if someone listening could only focus on one thing?
Okay.
To try to improve how their website is seen by these algorithms, what should it be?
If I had to pick just one thing,
Yeah.
it's this. Focus on building a naturally strong link profile.
Okay.
And that means no shortcuts, no tricks, no trying to game the system.
Right.
Create amazing content that people actually want to link to.
Yeah.
Build those relationships with, the thought leaders in your space and let those organic backlinks come naturally.
It's the long game.
It's a long game, yeah.
It's building that reputation, not just trying to, like, hack your way to the top of the rankings.
Exactly. And, Market Brew, actually, they ended their piece with this question, this challenge almost. For anyone who wants to, boost their website's visibility, they said, how can you apply one specific tactic that we discussed today to boost your website's link profile and your ranking?
Ooh, I like that.
It's a good question to consider, right?
It is. It brings it all back to action.
Exactly.
Because we can sit here and talk about it all day long, but if you don't actually do anything with it, what's the point?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. We went deep on link algorithms today, decoded some secrets, explored how Market Brew is really changing the game with their approach. Hopefully you picked up some actionable advice that you can actually use to level up your online presence.
Absolutely.
Just remember, the internet is constantly changing, so keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep those links strong.
That's right, yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.